All right, so first thing I need to do is get some struts on for the canopy, the forward tilt canopy. I got to get some struts in. A couple years ago when I started working on this thing, I had the brilliant idea of using an electric strut, like a lift gate on, you know, an SUV, and I was gonna have this thing really fancy and push button to open the canopy. So I had made the mounts for the electric struts, but it turns out when they're all the way up, it kind of was touching this part of the forward bulkhead, kind of cut into the ceiling surface here. When it was down closed, it was kind of thick and bulky, and the instrument panel is right here. It kind of cuts into that area a little bit. And then I was going to work around those issues, but then when it came down to it and I hooked this up and tested it, the struts were way too powerful, way too fast. Power is one thing, but the speed, I just couldn't slow it down. And so when you hit the button to raise it, it would jerk so fast going up that it wasn't a smooth motion, and it would probably ended up breaking the canopy somewhere because it was just too rough. And there was no way to take these apart and rewind the motors to slow them down. So I scrapped that idea, but that was after I had made the mounts to go in for the forward end. Inside the canopy, they are permanently mounted. The ball joints are in there, carbon fibered, numerous layers over top, so I really didn't want to change that. So in the end, I only have to move the forward mount here. I went and bought new struts. They were a little bit longer than what the original calls for, but I'll be able to patch this piece back in that I carved out to clear this strut body. And then I just moved this forward mount kind of rearward a couple inches and outboard a little bit, and it'll tuck in nicely here. And when the canopy's closed, there'll only be maybe 2 inches of the strut showing on the sides, and they're a lot smaller profile than those big ugly things. So that's what I have to do today. Pull this forward fuel tank off, take all this work I did for these strut mounts and chop it all out of there, clean it up, and then make a new ball mount to go in there and put it in the right position. Probably put this back on, put the canopy on, put it up to the full open position, and once the struts are on and hanging, I'll be able to determine where the end of that has to be, and I'll mount that forward strut mount right there while the canopy's on. And if I do that on both sides, then it's done perfect. I can pull the canopy off, pull this off, and reinforce all around both of those mounts. So got to get to work, chop these out of here, and keep moving forward. What a mess. Should really have a mask on for this. This is the before right here. You see I kind of beefed it up with carbon fiber all the way around. So I had to cut all of that back out. And then this is the after. So it cleaned up pretty nice.
2 hours later.
Woo! That was fun. That was a messy job. All right, let's get this canopy and fuel tank back on. Figure out where these struts are going. So now the challenge is putting the canopy in place by myself. It's always a lot of fun. Let's see if I can do it without breaking anything. Get some tools out of the way. I look like a turtle right now. Can't see what I'm doing. Okay. All right. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, got one side in. And the other side. Now I just got to get the bolts in the hinge brackets. And it's dark and I can't see, but you know, other than that, so easy. Oh, I got one. See if I can get the other here. Oh, I got it. There we go. Woo! All right, so now we take our custom canopy support, put it right in the middle, and lift it up to here. And that is right there is our full open position. Don't move. Oh, it was this end. Okay. There we go. That's what it's like, full open. Now I just need struts to hold it there. All right, let me find a strut. All right, now I gotta shut the canopy and take a look at where this strut sits. But I need some tape and a marker so I can mark out a couple things here. A flashlight this time. All right, now just gotta make 2 new brackets, but I think that's probably it for today. Clean out my mess. Hey, at least I got back in here, started getting some work done. Shouldn't take too long. I can get these brackets made, get the struts on, then I can open and close this canopy, then I can fit my instrument panel, make sure that clears the sides of it, clear the gas struts. That's what the goal was, because I want to start cutting the instrument panel, all the stuff out for that. Long way to go. Just keep taking one bite at a time. Here's the old bracket that I pulled out, and you can still see it's got carbon fiber on it, and in the holes that were for the flocks and everything to pass through. But this needed to sit a little higher on the side rail. There's the old one, and this one's still hot off the press. There's the new one. So this is going to sit quite a bit higher up where I need it. Let's go see how it looks in there. So I'd marked it with some tape as to where the ball is supposed to be in the 4F position. This is the end. This edge of the tape is the end of the strut body right here, where that goes to. So what I'm going to do is just put the kind of set the bracket in where I'm thinking it's going to be mounted, and like this. I'm not going to clip it fully in, but this is going to go right there. And that's perfect because this is my full up position right here. The strut clears the canopy right there. The shaft just clears the edge of the fiberglass right here as well. So I'm going to let this canopy down. All right, with the canopy down, if this bracket was here, there's the end of that. So I have to have enough room for the fitting to go between the ball and the body. And what I could do to check that is take another end and see if I got one of these ends without the clip on it. So let's take this clip off here. That's the locking pin. Alright, so if I put this on here, if I put that in the position I marked, and then I pull this up and make sure that the body and that aren't going to collide, and there's about a maybe not quite a ½ inch of room there. So that looks perfect. So I'm going to clean the bottom corner of this up, make sure the rail's cleaned up under here, and then pull the tape off, and I'm going to put some holes in here for some epoxy to pass through and bond to it, and then I'll bond this in right here, and that'll be my forward strut ball mount right there. Once that's done, I'll actually have a canopy that opens and closes. At least that's the plan. Get the right safety glasses on here. So now when I go to bond these in, when I put epoxy in here, it'll bleed into the holes and squeeze out there. So it bonds to the inside of all these holes, not just the flat surface. Locks it in nice and tight. Maybe a little more sanding to clean the rough edges up, and it should be good to go and bond in there. Nice. Match set. There we go. Clean this off here. We're good to go. All right, I think install is for another day. That's it. We got the new brackets made. Here's the old ones. That was one I cut out just a little while ago here. And this is the new bracket, so a little bit taller than what the old one sat on top of the rail. This one's gonna go under, but it's still a little bit higher where the ball mounts. I have it all prepped with, it's got some holes for the epoxy and flocks to bond into. I'll just give it a little better adhesion, more surface area. So take a strut, and I got a bag of ends, and I'll put the ends together and get them mounted on the inside of the canopy here, let them hang down, put the other end on this bracket, and that way I can swing the bracket into position. I'm going to use fiberglass epoxy with flocks on the inside of this and bond it to the inside rail, the longeron, if you will. Longeron? However you say it. The little side thingy. Anyways, I'm going to bond them to that and let them cure up for a while. And then after it cures up, I'll go back and add some carbon fiber reinforcement underneath, you know, down to the sidewall of the fuselage here. Because there'll be a lot of force up and down on this bracket. So I got to beef it up under here and get it reinforced really well so that that doesn't go anywhere. If you can imagine the bottom of this strut attached to this, as you open that canopy, and you know, if it's up here like this and a wind catches that canopy, that's like a big sail. So you can imagine like a 30 knot wind from behind grabbing that and trying to rip it up. There's going to be a lot of force on that bracket, so I've got to make sure that thing's really beefy on the plane. I don't need it to be breaking loose on me with just one windy day. That would suck. So, all right, let's get to work. Get this thing mounted and get a canopy working. So I guess what I need to do first is make sure this canopy is all the way up where I need it. Yeah, I don't like that. Come back down just a little bit. Okay. So now I've got to get a clamp to be able to hold this up right there. That might be better. Yeah, that clamps in nice and tight. All right, that's the plan. So that's that side. Gotta get the other side ready. Be good to go. Let's see if I can get this thing back together. All right, it's a little tighter right against this The back of the bulkhead, I've got this sealing surface here. It looks like it's touching here, so I'm going to have to trim a little bit of that out. So I think I might have to do that right now before I go any further. I'll just trim a little bit out. Then I'll clamp this back down. Now it's ready to bond in. I'll clean this. I'll go back and clean this thing up later. I've got to patch in a little piece that I was notching out here. Same on the other side. So I'll go back and clean that up later. Let's get these things bonded into place. So I'm going to pull those off, scuff them up a little bit, and we'll put it back together. Get them bonded in there. Do the same on the other side too. Probably mixed up way too much. A lot more than I need. Let's see. I think this epoxy might be going bad, or the hardener, because it's a little bit discolored, so I'm gonna have to run out and get some new hardener. It'll work to just bond these in place, but then I'll get some new stuff to make sure I'm layering it on and with the cloth. Probably do carbon fiber on the bottom of that, so carbon fiber will be good and strong, but I'll get some new hardener because this doesn't, I don't like the color of that. I think after a certain time it ages out, and looks like this has definitely done that. So all right, that should be enough. I got those mounted, bonded in right now. Once they cure, once the epoxy and flocks cure on those, I'll disconnect the struts, and then I'll put carbon fiber over those and underneath of them, support that whole area, spread the load out over a bigger area, not just rely on the small area of the bracket. The reason I was really anxious to get that done was those struts pass beside the instrument panel. When you close the canopy, they come down right beside the instrument panel, and I wanted to start cutting out the new panel, making a new panel for it. So getting the struts in helps me to double check, put my template in, and make sure when you close the canopy that it actually passes the size of the instrument panel. I actually have, hang on. I actually have a template that's printed out, and it's cut out in a couple layers of cardboard that this will set right in place where it needs to be. And when I close the canopy, the strut should come down and pass the side of this and have a little bit of clearance to it. So that's the goal. Hopefully I got that right. We'll see. Fingers crossed. Keep going.